Great morning, guys. Super fantastic morning. I am Shay Wilson, thinking big, living bigger, and loving the biggest. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Jump on. It is happy Monday, August 8th, 2022. Jump on, guys. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Got y'all set up. Let's rock this thing. We are going to talk about following our heart space, what's in our bodies to do. Let's do this. Come on in. I hope you had an amazing weekend, an amazing morning so far. Thank you for jumping on. It is 6:15 Central Time. Hey, Jen, what's going on? Jump on. We talking about following our heart today. I love that topic. It is a topic that we say sometimes. We talk about following our heart many times, but we don't necessarily do that. So let's jump on. Before we get going, you know how we always start this thing is with appreciating what we have, the attitude of gratitude. So if you could right there chop in the chat what you are appreciating, grateful for, thankful for this morning, one thing, two things, whatever fills your heart, come talk to me. I can say I had a very restful weekend, a peaceful weekend. It was needed. It was a weekend that was filled with some surprises, beautiful surprises. It was also a weekend that just I had an opportunity just to relax, do some work, and just be with myself in certain things. And I love that. I love that many times. So come on, what you got? What do you have that you are appreciating, grateful for, or thankful for? And we're going to jump into this following our heart thing, because this is megawatt transformative. I personally believe that it is. I think it's the way to go. I think that's where we're at. So let's rock it. What we have? Come on. Anybody want to tell me? Jen say grateful for trusting the process. Yes, trusting the process. Ooh, trusting the process. I think really has a lot to do with following our hearts. I really believe that is a place that we have lost. I'm sorry, guys. I'm putting back on my looking at you on social media so I can stay follow, keep us right on in alignment so I can see the comments. Most definitely is something that is following our heart. Trusting the process is following our heart. I don't think we do too much of anything without following our heart on this thing, for sure. So I'm like, so let's jump into it. I think I said, anybody else out there? I see I got some people out there. If you don't want to say anything, it's fine, but say good morning to me. Let me know that you're out there. I love it. So we're going to talk about the topic of following. Grateful for abundance. Yes. Grateful for abundance, grateful for trusting the process, guys. And listen, trusting the process is not easy. Trusting the process, the whole idea of trust is a faith thing, meaning that you can't see the outcomes of things. You really just moving through and being consistent with behaviors, attitudes, and processes that you cannot see if that's the goal. You know that you believe that that's going to be the end goal, but trusting the process is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. Anything you start and you get far enough away from your starting point, but you can't necessarily see the end point, that middle part is nerve-wracking. And so that's why I'm always super encouraging people who are doing something new, because I know how hard that is when you get there. And so we support each other. So following our heart. For your consideration, this one right here. This statement comes out of Master Kip's book, Claim Your Heart. And I'm going to reference this book quite often this morning. Says that when we trust our hearts, our hearts and our souls, we are actually trusting God, the universe, our inner being. Let me say that again. When we trust our hearts and our souls, that we are actually trusting God, source, creator, universe, whatever words you want to use for God, your hobby, and don't get wrapped up in that. What does that mean to you? What does that feel like to you? When we trust our hearts, when we trust our soul speaking to us, that is actually trusting God, the God of your understanding. Yeah, that's a big one, because what happens many times that we will say that we trusted our hearts before and we got burned. We trusted our hearts before and things didn't work out. And so in the book, Master Kip actually says that we didn't necessarily trust our hearts back then. What we did was that we trusted someone else for our emotional abundance. We trusted our addictions. We trusted our codependency. We trusted something else outside of ourselves. Listen, and I love that. I said that, come on with it. But when it says, when you follow our heart, many times we try to follow our hearts, or we thought about following our hearts and someone talked us out of it. Or we, again, like he said, we followed survival patterns to do, we thought that was it. We didn't necessarily follow our hearts in the right vein. All right. Come on with me. Come on with me. What we got on that? Anybody got a comment on that? Anybody got a comment on that? I would love to hear it. Love to hear it, because I thought that was amazing. I think that because I personally believe that our answers, when we talk about our answers are within ourselves, then whether they come from, where does that come from? And I know that many times when we say follow our hearts, and when we talk about things that we are passionate about, when we talk about things that are in our purpose, you ever feel there's a freedom in that there's a feeling of bliss, there's a feeling of excitement, that we feel inspired when we start talking from our hearts. From our heart, there's a flow, there's an ease with it. But when we start talking from our hearts, immediately our mind jumps in and will start snatching those thoughts away from us. And we say, I can't really make a living doing that. I don't think that would be a right way. We literally talk ourselves out of following our heart. Anybody want to say something on that? Come on with it. Come on with it. I love the fact that it says that when we follow our hearts, we are literally following God, the God of our understanding, universe, creator, working on our purpose and our joy. Absolutely, working on our purpose. Absolutely. Many of us have made decisions based on logical and rational as opposed to our hearts. We did not think that we could make it with following our hearts in many ways. Now we are at an age or a phase in our life or a stage in our life that we realize that, listen, joy and fulfillment are more important. Joy and fulfillment are more important. We are realizing that. The more and more we are awakening. That's why we see more and more people becoming prosperous in an area or field that you didn't even think could be happening. You didn't even realize you could make a whole living off of art. I watch a gentleman on YouTube, and he paints as he's talking to you, and it just doing amazingly well, and had the courage to move in a space that just makes him happy, and is now doing extremely well. What happens to many of us is that we think from our mind. And we've been taught that we can't follow our heart. It's not a good thing to follow our heart, or we've been burned by it. And as he suggests, Master Kip suggests that many times we followed our addictions, our codependencies, our survival patterns, we made someone else the source. I love this, the source of our emotional wealth. I was like, that is fire. That is fire to even understand that we have it. When we talk about we have the power within us, we just don't know the voice. We are not familiar with the voice. We've stomped it out so long. We've continued to move it out the way. And the mind is so much louder than our heart. And we talk about in Christianity or religious circles, we talk about the still small voice. The heart doesn't speak loud. It's very calm and very quiet. And so you have to get quiet, which means we have to familiarize ourselves with our own heart and soul again. All right. So here, before we get off, I'm gonna do a meditation. There's a heart meditation, and really, it's we're not gonna have to do it right now, but I want to share it with you, and I want to share some questions with you so that you can start at least acknowledging this morning your heart. So I know you're not at a place right now that you can get in a sacred space where it's quiet, where there's no internet, because if you do, you're not going to be able to hear me, where everything's off. And so here's how it goes. You find a safe space, quiet, no interruptions that you need for 5 to 10 minutes, just like you would do for meditation, 5 to 10 minutes. And what you're going to do is you're going to start breathing, and you're going to breathe from your heart. So as you go breathe in, inhale, you're going to focus on your heart, and you're going to exhale. You're going to focus on your heart. And you're going to do this for 5 to 10 minutes. So you're just going to breathe in, you're focusing on your heart. You're going to exhale, you're going to focus on your heart. You're going to do this for 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Once you do that and really settle yourself, okay? We're going to refamiliarize. We're going to reconnect. We're going to reintroduce ourselves to our own hearts with this. We're going to see what comes up for us, okay? Now, the heart space, this can be any part of our bodies. It's also going to reconnect us to our bodies. A lot of us are not really familiar with our bodies. So in his book, Claim Your Power, he talks about questions that we should ask ourselves as we begin to reacquaint ourselves with our bodies. And I want to share some of those questions with you, and I will post some of them also. Some of the questions that he asked, once we do that, he asked the heart to show us where the heart is in our bodies. We know it's physically here, but the heart can show up in many areas in our bodies. It could be in your knees. Some people say they feel it in their bellies. Some people say they feel it in their shoulders. And we just acknowledge that, and we just love our bodies. That's how I've gotten really funny about just speaking love over the parts of my body. It sounds so weird. I've been an athlete all my life, but now the loving of myself is pushing me to speak love over different parts of my body, and just loving the fact that my body is carrying me in optimal health and moving in that manner, and just being gentle. I've always been rough with it. I've always been an athlete, push. And now I'm trying to change that dynamic. So in this, the feeling of where you feel your heart at. So you have to get still, and you have to be gentle with yourself, and you're listening to your breath. 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes. Okay. So here's some of the questions that I like to pose to you. So, and he breaks it down in your romantic life. If you're single, one of the questions you can ask your heart, what can I do to attract the love of my life? Heart, how can I love myself even more today? I'm going to do like 2 questions from each section. I think these are beautiful questions. If you're in a relationship, this is just, I love these questions. I love couples and relationships and marriage and all those things. Heart, how can I love my partner even more today? I love that question. Heart, what is the best way for me to resolve this fight or disagreement? Just beautiful, just beautiful. Now understand, when the heart is speaking to you, the heart, you can never go wrong when you're asking your heart. There's not a fear, there's not anger with this. There's a calm type of resolution to things. There's a calm solution that comes forth. There's an ease and a flow. That's what you know. When you know that you're not in the heart, there's a restriction, there is a constriction, there's a anger, there's a fearful type of thing. That's when you know you're not in alignment with the heart. Let me say that, because we need to know how to know if you're answering the question properly. And a lot of times it's probably what you wouldn't normally do. Let me tell you that. The heart will speak. It's probably not what you normally want to do, because many of us move and flow out of our ego and pride, which means we speak real quick. We speak from fear. We speak from not wanting to look bad. We speak from that place. Or I don't want to give in. I'm always the one that apologizes. Well, it's not that. There's a strength in this, what we're talking about today. So let me give you that. So in health and wellness questions, so he breaks it down. Heart, what is the best way to nourish my body today? Heart, what am I eating or consuming that is not good for me? I love these questions. So here's about 5 to 10 questions under each section. In the business and career, heart, what is the best career for me to live my purpose? And that's a courageous question to ask, because many times we are not in the careers or vocations that really serve our purpose. Come on in there. We can be influential and positive where we are. Don't get me wrong. You can still carry a whole lot of weight in a positive manner and make a difference in where you are right now. But that is a powerful question, a courageous question to ask. Heart, what is the best career for me to live my purpose? Now, we can ask the question, but maybe the answer may throw us off a little bit. Number 2 says, I'm just picking questions under these each. What is the ideal way for me to be of service in my career now? So I like that question too. What is the ideal way, heart? What is the ideal way for me to be of service in the career that I am in right now? Again, I'm referencing Maston Kipp's book, Claim Your Power, listening to your heart section, following your heart section. He suggests that when we trust our heart and our souls, that we are actually trusting God, Creator, the universe, our higher power. In spirituality, he says one of the questions are, heart, what is the best way for me to connect with God, the Creator, what have you? Again, don't get caught up with the labels. Heart, are you how God, Spirit, Divine talks to me? I love that. I love these questions. So just kind of marinate on these questions. All this is talking to your heart is like a relationship. Many of us haven't learned how to have a relationship with even a higher power, with God, without being in chaos. And just knowing that that's our friend. So it's like a love relationship that we need to cultivate, that we need to nourish, that we need to really be aware of. And so listening to your heart, I love this section because I know I wasn't drawn to this book by that's not by coincidence. I'm drawn to certain things. And so when I started reading it, it brought tears to my eyes because it was exactly what I needed to hear in order to teach myself. You hear me? Everything I do, I know God uses it for me to go out. Everything we do, every gift is here and out. But I must know how to love myself. I must know how to do certain things for myself and then teach. And we all have those kind of gifts. All right, guys, listen. If this helped you, let me know. Following our heart. Consider that today. Following our heart, listening to our heart, and you got to listen first, is actually Creator, God, the universe, talking to us. But we got to get quiet enough to do it because the mind is super loud and start telling us all the things of wow. We start moving in survival patterns. We start moving out of fear. We start moving out of things. I was talking to a friend of mine this weekend, and one of the things I absolutely believe, your spirituality, if you are maturing in your spirituality, I didn't say religion. Listen, this is people that go to church, anybody. We should be more kinder, more loving, more fearless, and more fulfilled, joy-filled. If we go another way, when we're more hateful, more judgmental, more meaner, more scared of everything, and unhappy, we are going the opposite direction. That's all it is. We're out of alignment. We are out of alignment. And I don't mean every day is Pollyanna-ish. I'm saying that there has to be a piece of consistency and a movement. Is how you deal with people is in a more gentler, kinder, more compassionate way than what we did before. Being of age, getting older does not mean that we need to be persnickety, cranky, grouchy, mad at the world. Nah, not me, not this kid right here. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Happy Monday. Thank you for jumping on, joining me. Consider that following your heart. Consider listening to your heart. Talk to people about it. Listen to the questions. Those questions are fire. They create a whole firestorm of what would heart. What does that look like? I love it. Let's go, guys. Let's have an amazing day. Bye.